Hi everyone, welcome back to Cooking with Corey here in Cloud Dojo. This is your spot for inspiration on living a healthy, happy, and vibrant life. So I know this is a really busy time of year and it can be tough to get in that big variety of vegetables that we know is healthy for our guts. So I wanted to share how I make sure that we all have veggies to mix and match for whatever we need to throw into dinners, lunches, even breakfast throughout the week. I actually do this every week for my mom. So I'm here in her kitchen today and I'm cooking all the vegetables that she can mix and match, add into different meals, throw into a rice bowl, throw into some pasta, have as a side for lunch, whatever she wants throughout the week. So there are a couple ways to make sure that you get in all your veggies for the week. So I wanted to share my principles to help make it easier. Number one is don't worry about trying to fit it all in at a certain time. Like as a mom, if I have that on the schedule to do on Sunday, but then something comes up or there's a holiday party happening on that Sunday, then I can't let that throw me off too much. So if I don't have time on a Sunday, I'll double up or triple up vegetables 2 times a week, and I'll just, as I'm cooking one thing, I might also make a big batch of something that uses those same ingredients but has slightly different flavors. So that's principle number one, is being flexible about when you batch cook and how you do it. Just always thinking about trying to have some extra veggies on hand for those days when you just don't have time to make anything. Second thing is you want to have flexibility in the vegetables that you have. So for example, I'm doing roasted vegetables, but I'm doing them with a couple of different flavors so that they would, just have some variety through the week. Even if you have, rice bowls or a rice bowl and a quinoa bowl and you're doing it like 2 times a week, something that's pretty similar, you can make it different by having, we're gonna have one that has more of like a curried flavor and one that has like cumin, paprika, sort of more like a Mexican inspired roasted vegetable. So same with my greens, I'm doing greens 2 different ways. And so having some variety there can help make it interesting, even though you really are just kind of using the same ingredients. So speaking of variety, even if I am doing a dish that is just mostly greens, I'm switching up the flavors a little bit, I'm still trying to bring as much variety as I can. So a goal is to try to get as many different types of greens into the week as you can, as many different types of root vegetables into the week as you can. It's really helpful for our gut microbiome to be exposed to a wide variety of plants, and that includes spices. So, throwing in the onion and the garlic really helps to increase the diversity of the plants that you're using. It includes, paprika and cumin and coriander and all that stuff, dried, but also if you can get fresh, throwing in some fresh parsley and stuff like that can really help bring in that diversity of plants that's so good for our gut health. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started with our root vegetables. So I'm going to cut up a bunch of parsnips, carrots, beets, and radishes, and I even have some sweet potato that I cut up earlier. So I'm going to put those onto sheet trays, preheat my oven to, you can do a slow roast at 300 degrees or even 275 if you have a while to slow roast it. That preserves the most nutrients, or we can just do it at 350 if we don't have as much time. I'm just making sure that everything is about the same size so that it all roasts evenly. So when I get a funny shape like this, I just cut off all the tips because they're the size that I want. And then I cut those into chunks. And then I can cut the rest into the correct size strip really easily and cut those into chunks. Just these little things that kind of, if you get into the habit, it just makes everything a little more efficient. Shaves off a few minutes here and there and just saves you a little bit of time. I try not to think too much about it. Just when I can throw that hack in there, I do. But really, cooking should not be too much of a science because then it's not as fun. So for the beets, I'm going to use a cutting board because I don't want to get the butcher block stained, even though it is a surface you can cut on. So normally I would just mix these right on a sheet pan with their oil and spices, but I've actually got to take these over to a different oven because there's not one right here. So we'll just do it in these bowls. Okay, I'm actually also going to roast up an onion. Save your onion skins, y'all. It is so nice to add those in for some flavor in like vegetable broth. I always save kale stems. I'm probably going to save the tops of the carrots and parsnips. And then onion, garlic skin is all so good for veggie or bone broth. And big chunks for roasting onions because they will get quite soft. So for the veggies, let's get a lot of olive oil. This is actually a Persian lime olive oil. She likes to go to this shop in our town that sells a lot of different flavors of olive oil. So I think I'll just do these carrots, parsnips, and onions with some salt and some curry powder. I really think hands are the best tool for mixing up roasted veggies. Of course, you can wear gloves if you need to, but it just kind of helps massage all that flavor into the veggies. And I pull the onions apart so that you can get in each of those pieces all the flavor. Oh my gosh, it smells so good with that lime and curry. It's gonna be really good. If you don't have lime olive oil, you can do some lime zest or some lemon zest. That would give this a really nice punch too. Okay, those seem sufficiently mixed. Let's do these radishes and beets. And again, we've got kind of limited tools to work with here, so I'm gonna actually have to mix these up in 2 separate bowls. So just work with what you've got. This lime olive oil is actually going to go great with the sort of Tex-Mex flavors that we're putting in to the roasted beets, radishes, and sweet potatoes. So if you have that lime zest, you could add that into both. All right, this we're gonna do garlic powder. When you're roasting veggies, I will say, lay on the spices thick. We're actually gonna do some salt and some cumin. Essentially, you wanna just think of, I want a little coating of every spice on each piece. So that's how I eyeball it. But of course, you can always look up roasted veggie recipes. And think also about the strength of the spice. Paprika is not as strong a flavor I've found as like this chili powder, which I'm not going to use a lot of. All right, going in and mixing it all up. All right, these are all ready for the oven now, and I'm ready for the sink. All right, so next up we are going to make some sauteed squash. My mom loves squash with sauteed onions. So that's what we're doing. And I think we'll cut these into half moons. So take each one, slice it lengthwise. Okay, my mom's out and I cannot find stirring spoons. Do you guys see them anywhere? Anyway, I found chopsticks, so we'll just use that. You want to cook these in batches. If you overcrowd the pan, they're not going to cook evenly and they're not going to all get nice and like brown. She also said she has some tomatoes that'll go bad if we don't cook them, so I'm going to roast these up, or actually saute them as well. All right, so I've sauteed a lot of these up with some lime olive oil, and now I'm going to use some herbs de Provence olive oil. Alright, so for the napa cabbage, I'm going to wilt these in a good amount of water. And then I'm also going to add in a little of the olive oil and some ginger. Alright, and for the chard, I'm just going to do a simple blanch. I have the stems separate because I actually like charred stems, but I just think they need to be cooked a little bit longer. So I'm going to cut them up into small pieces and get them in the water first. Into this pot, we're going to do some soy sauce and some water and some cumin, and we're just going to blanch it with those flavors. My cabbage got a little bit burnt on the bottom, so I'll teach you a trick. You just dump it into another pan, and then just let the stuff that's sticking to the bottom stay there. And that's all I really wasted.
So I think this is a great hack to make sure you're getting in all your veggies. My mom has me divide them up into one container for each day of the week with 3 servings per container.
All right, everyone, I think I'm all done with these veggies for the week. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you learned something. Here is wishing you a healthy, happy, and vibrant week ahead. I'll see you next time in Cloud Dojo. Bye. Okay, you are free to play chess tournament.